Your light originates from something much more than you experience today. A long time ago, your light decided to go on a journey, to become more, to be better, and build itself up. Setting off, it had this unshakable confidence that it would find its way back home with ease. After all, there was something about the call of home that your light knew it would never forget. It felt even though they would spend time away, they would never forget that comforting sense of home. Your light set off and went further and further, far and wide, up and down. Over time, the journey became much more complicated than was ever expected. This journey was initially supposed to be over in a flash, but has ended up taking your light on so many different and twisted paths that over time it has left your light feeling confused, disoriented, even questioning itself and its purpose. You see, what your light didn't realize was that the longer it spent away from home, the more and more it started to forget who it was. An adventure that started out just being about fun has completely become something else. Your light knows it's lost, but it's struggling to even remember what or where it is lost from. It is so far away from home that the calling that was once so clear is muffled and drowned out by the noise and busyness of all the things your light has surrounded itself with. You see, your light has not been on this journey alone. Your light has encountered many people, places, and predicaments along its path. Some good, some memorable and fun. Others were not so great. Not everyone along the way has been nice or had good intentions for your light. Much of the innocence and naivety your light once had that made it open, vulnerable, honest and true has now been replaced by suspicion, mistrust, and the need to protect itself from those that misrepresented themselves, who are deceitful and in search of a kind person they can pick on to make themselves feel big. Over every turn into a new place, your light starts to feel as though there is always someone wanting to take advantage of its good, kind heart. Your light doesn't understand why empathizing with others and feeling the world's pain have caused it to cross paths with so many who choose to manipulate that kindness for their own gain. Many years of this treatment has left your light feeling betrayed, used, and hard to find trust again. As a result, your light has dimmed, thus making it even harder to find their way home and more difficult to remember why they were even here in the first place. The easy route would be for your light to become bitter and turn into a person that is cold and unfeeling, just out for themselves and cruel. But for some reason, currently unbeknownst to your light, this just doesn't feel like a viable option. Your light may not remember who it is right now, but it certainly knows that that just doesn't feel right to them. They don't want to become an example of the thing that they don't like to see in others. Yes, they are experiencing pain and are questioning people, but they just know they don't ever want to become like them. They want to be different. Your light wants to feel good again. Then there was a spark. Something glistened in the mind of your light. They had to pay attention to. It was fleeting, but there was something there. It was when they said, feel. It doesn't feel like a viable option. That's it. That feeling. It was ever so subtle, but it was something. A brief glimpse into a feeling that felt good. That feels right, said your light. I need to pay more attention to what feels good to me. What feels right? I need to focus on how I feel. This will help me find my way. It was the first time in a long time that your light felt this type of energy. It felt like motivation. It felt inspired, as though there was something giving it a push to continue on. For so long, your light had let the environment it placed itself in dictate its mood and its sense of self. This feeling was new. This feeling came from deep within. Your light wanted more, but it didn't know how to get it back. Sometimes it thought it did, but then realized that the thoughts your light were having were not their own. Your light was being influenced by what others think or even say about them. It became frustrating. How can your light get back to that feeling that came from deep within? The one that they could tell was their own thought, their own feeling, the one that lit them up. Your light tried again. Only this time, your light was committed to try to put less pressure on themselves. Your light wouldn't name it or time it. It wasn't meditation or mindfulness. It was just being still for little periods of time. The aim was simply that, to feel the freedom of doing and focusing on nothing else other than what was deep within. Your light found the easiest way to do that first was focusing on the breath. But over time, thoughts and frustrations got the better of them. Their minds seemed to get louder and louder the more they tried to be quiet, almost like it was trying to distract them. So your light kept to their word and didn't chastise, shame, or judge themselves when things didn't go as planned. Your light decided to amend their practice slightly by making room for ease, kindness, and self-compassion. Sometimes it worked, other times it didn't. It didn't matter what it was, as long as it was a constant and could distract over time their overactive mind. It started to work. Every day, your light would start to look forward to making time for the practice. And every day, your light felt themselves getting a little better at it. It wasn't long before one day, no different to any other, your light felt like they had layers being lifted off them, metaphorically. Like they'd started to hear a new sound once the noise and distraction, the layers that had been created, were removed. Your light felt something. It was like the sound of their heart beating for the very first time. It was the sound of familiarity, of comfort, of love. It was the sound of home. Your light felt it. It never knew why, but something always made them feel they were part of something more, something bigger, but that they just got lost somehow. This was beautiful. The light of home was calling them back to the ones they once knew. It was hard to explain. There was no need to explain. There was just a knowing, a knowledge that they were exactly where they were meant to be. The calling from home helped them remember a part of themselves they had completely forgotten. And it felt really good. You see, home always knew leaving would make your light forget. That was always part of the plan. Home was there. They were whole and full of bliss. But you can only stay in one space for so long, even if it is bliss. There is a part of you that will always strive for more. This was the journey of your light. It wanted to know who it was and what it was capable of, away from the comfort and protection of home. Now, with this newly remembered knowledge, this wisdom about itself that it had been able to tap into, It knows that the work it has to do is not at home, but it can use the power from home to build anew right here. Your light plans to shine its light brighter here, where it is needed. You see, your light was never lost, and it was never alone. What it didn't know before was that before they left, home gave it the power of intuition, the power within that would whisper and encourage when there came times of doubt. This power was intentionally subtle because the purpose was for your light to find its way through free will, not to be commanded or coerced. The intuition was only ever a guide that has no power unless it is invited in. When your light decided to pay more attention to its feelings, that gave the intuition more power to build momentum. Your light began to grow and become brighter and brighter, becoming a beacon for home to see once again. The time it took to become quiet and to focus on its inner depths made it easy for your light of home to come and bring it the energy and determination it so needed. Now, together with the inner light and the adjoining light and warmth from home, your light finally understands why all the other things happened. There was a reason for every experience. Now I look back. But at the time, I just didn't see it. It's clear now. All you have to do is be the best and brightest light you can be. Be the unshakable, confident person you always were. Don't let others' thoughts, fears, or opinions keep you from your light. Your light is so much stronger now because they remember who they are. They have their internal compass, their intuition, their wisdom as their guide, and it will never steer them wrong. People, places, and predicaments will be attracted to them, and they will learn how to handle them from their position of knowing that they are exactly where they are meant to be. That every situation is there to teach them something. That they are the masters of their own light. And it is their responsibility to keep it glowing so they can keep on going. This is how you make your light shine.